Hello and welcome to this action-packed episode of Auto Today. I'm Sanket Upadhyay. Apart from the Audi that I'm driving and many more Audis that we are going to showcase in this episode, let's find out what all action we've been able to pack in this week's edition. On the show this week, Jeep's 75th anniversary Grand Cherokee. Mahindra spreads the mojo. And our very own car advisory section. Now, Jeep has had a long history of manufacturing strong and rugged Jeeps. Yes, that's true. And usually it is seen that in the 75 years of its existence, very little has changed, yet a lot has transformed. We are now reviewing the 2016 Grand Cherokee Jeep to get you a glimpse of what has changed and what remains the same.
Last night, I was passing through the brochure of the car I'm here to drive, and it said more of things like departure angles, ramp angles, wading depth, and one might think that it's kind of odd because that's not the regular brochure you think it is. It's a very Jeep thing, and that's correct because we are here to drive the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and that to the 75th anniversary edition in Moab. Let's go for a drive and see how it feels, or rather how good it is off the road. Now, how does this Grand Cherokee be different from the regular Grand Cherokees we will get in India? This is a limited edition car, and you can see this badge which has been specially created for the 75th anniversary cars. But unfortunately, by the time this car comes into our country, the 75th anniversary editions will be over. But you do get the standard Cherokee, which is as potent as this machine.
Apart from the added embellishments, the Grand Cherokee remains the same. It retains Jeep's iconic 7-slat grille along with those sleek headlamps which incorporate daytime running lamps. The broad shoulder line and 20-inch wheels together envisage a macho and muscular hue which is quite symbolic to the Jeep.
So we are inside the Grand Cherokee, and as I told you before, it's quite a roughy-tufty vehicle from outside. But when you sit inside, it's a completely different animal. You have these lovely bucket seats which are large and very, very comfortable to be in. And they have a lot of support on the side. So that means when you're off the road and you're being jolted around, it is very comfortable. And then, adding to the luxury features are the rest of the packages. So you've got a touchscreen interface here, which has satellite radio and whatever you can think of. You also have heated seats, heated steering wheels, and everything you need. So what gives this car its capability is the terrain response system here. Now, first and foremost, you can keep it in auto, which is just like that. And then you can select the terrain which you are on. So if you are on mud, you just twist the wheel and we are on mud. And now the computers know that you are on mud and gives traction to the wheels and air suspension. This helps in increasing the ride height, which is again good when you're tackling those boulders and all. But last but not the least, the most important thing, four-wheel drive low. Put it in there and just forget about it. The car will tackle it on its own.
On the road, the Grand Cherokee cruises with little fuss, but it's off the road where the fun begins. First and foremost, the big V6 diesel engine has ample power and torque, which coupled to a smart automatic gearbox makes offloading look easy. Technologies like the limited slip differential ensure that there is little chance for a Grand Cherokee driver to get stuck. Sophisticated computer algorithms regulate power to the four wheels. So if one of them was suspended in the air, the power is redistributed to the other three to give the vehicle an extra push when needed.
It's been a full days of driving, and by driving I mean not on the road but off the road. And we've been in this car all day long, the Grand Cherokee. Now, as I told you before, this is the car coming to India and we've driven it just off the road. So how has it been? Well, the color of the car tells you a lot, but let me just tell you that most of the terrain which was here has been tackled by this car with relative ease. And with relative ease, I mean, this is a car which you can take it to show off and then get it to Moab and do some fair bit of off-roading. And that's saying a lot for a car like that. So overall, I would rate this car as both ready for on the road and off the road.
Now, riding a motorbike is a very good experience, and those who actually indulge in it know what I'm talking about. But riding the motorcycle in a group of familiar people is a different game altogether. Take a look at the Hogs, as they're called, or the Harley Owners Group. Well, Karan Mathur discovered one such group of Mahindra motorbikes.
Since the dawn of time, men and machines have shared an unbreakable bond. Once a machine is procured, the only thing left to do is to round up a few friends to go along for a long ride. Mahindra's two-wheeler division, wanting to promote a similar spirit of brotherhood and camaraderie amongst the natives of the Mojo tribe, launched the Trails of the Mojo tribe. Inspired by veteran groups like the Harley Owners Group, or Hogs as they like to be called, the Mojo tribe started their journey around the country, and we joined in for the fun on our own Mojo.
Well, it's been almost 6 months since Mahindra Mojo entered the long-term garage, and finally we've gotten her out to stretch her legs on the highway, where our plan is we'll be going from Delhi to Chandigarh all the way and then heading back.
Our adventure started at the Mahindra showroom in Model Town at the edge of Delhi, where the route would take us onto National Highway 1. The group was a mix of bikers from different parts of the country. The road was open, friends were near, and the heat of the burning sun was barely felt over all the excitement. A spot of lunch at the famous Amrik Sukhdev Dhaba in Murthal was a much-needed stop before we headed out once again, continuing our journey towards Chandigarh. The road once again opened up to an endless highway, with the tantalizing sights of rural India flashing by in the peripheral vision of your helmet. On the mechanical front, the 295cc single-cylinder Mahindra Mojo was taking in the entire journey in its stride. The potent motor had plenty to give in both city and highway driving conditions, while the 21-litre fuel tank made us fill it, shut it and forget it. The seat, on the other hand, was really comfortable but could have used slightly better cushioning for longer journeys. Yet, we were loving the experience, and so were the others. As the sun was setting to our left, the day's ride was coming to an end. Some, including us, had to turn back before our Pirilis set foot into Chandigarh, and the others had to continue onwards. The day had its ups and downs, but overall, emotions ran high when it was time to say goodbye.
So we've come to the end of our journey, and as you know, we're heading back to Delhi. The real star of the show has been the Mahindra Mojo, which has been a fantastic highway cruiser, a comfortable city commuter, and an overall brilliant bike to live with. We'll be seeing you shortly. This is Karan Mathur signing off. See you guys.
Now, Audi has been known to raise that thrill quotient at the Buddh International Circuit. They did it recently, and Simran Rastogi went there to see the sportier side of this German machine.
What
better place to learn how to go faster in a safer way than a racetrack? Not just any racetrack either. This is the Buddh International Circuit that has played host to the fastest form of racing there is, Formula One. So how exactly do you learn the art of speed? You learn from someone who knows it well. Enter Aditya Patel, Audi's resident race driver. He started the Audi driving experience with a classroom session that started with the basics, the concepts. But like, what do understeer and oversteer actually mean? Once the physics of speed was revealed, the next step was to find out how Audi's Quattro four-wheel drive system contributes. And of course, the best teacher is experience.
The whole point of the Audi sports car experience is to get to try the best that Audi has to offer on track in a safe environment. And part of the whole thing is actually getting into the car and turning off all your safety nannies. So this is something that we don't usually get to do. We drive a car and the first thing we're told is to not turn off traction. Here, the first thing we were told is to actually turn traction off. So that means ESC is off. We put the car into dynamic mode and we can set the engine, gearbox, suspension, steering, sport differential, which is part of the Quattro system, and a whole lot of stuff into dynamic, which makes it at its hardest best.
Let's go on to a virtual lap of Buddh. To understand the benefits of Quattro, you must first understand what happens in front-wheel drive cars, which forms the majority of vehicles on sale in India. The front tires have two jobs, of transferring power from the engine to the road as well as turning the car. And under certain conditions of speed and angle of the turn, the tires can perform only one job well. This results in understeer. In a four-wheel drive or Quattro-equipped car, this isn't a problem. Through corners, the car's tires continue to grip. To demonstrate the effectiveness of technologies like ABS or the anti-lock braking system, we were asked to drive Audis that you may be more used to seeing, the A3 and the A6. Under panic braking, what ABS does is allow you to still steer the car away from a potential accident. As expected, electronic stability control and anti-slip regulations saved the day and the orange safety cones that very well could have been pedestrians. In all, apart from learning the basics of driving quickly, the Audi driving experience serves as a practical demo from either side of the life-saving technologies offered in modern cars.
TVS Motors has refreshed its Victor line of motorbikes, which first launched back in 2002. The commuter motorcycle has a base price of Rs 49,490 and Rs 51,490 for the top-end variant. The bike will be powered by a 110cc single-cylinder engine with 9.6 bhp and 9.4 Nm of torque. The fuel efficiency is claimed at 76 km per litre. The Bentayga, the new SUV from Bentley, has launched in India. The company claims the Bentayga to be the most luxurious SUV ever. The price of the Bentayga is 3.85 crore ex-showroom New Delhi. The traditional Bentley grille and headlamps make the SUV look elegant, and the 6-litre twin-turbocharged W12 engine present under the bonnet is capable of whisking it from 0 to 100 in just 4.1 seconds. The interiors are shrouded in leather, and a choice of 4 different veneers and 17 different types of piano finished paints are offered by Bentley.
Now you want to know all about fancy cars, we get that for you. You want to know all the technical specifications about the fancy cars, we get that to you as well. But then there is that quintessential Indian question that proves our Indianness over and over again. And it is a great equalizer. Go to any part of this country and people will ask the same question. Kitna deti hai boss? See, it's opened its mouth all over again. Here is our auto advisory for the week.
You know, the two most common questions that people ask when they look at a new car is, कितने की है? And भाई, average कितनी देती है? Now, कितने की है, obviously they're referring to the cost, but average कितनी देती है, basically what they're asking is how many kilometers are you able to travel in 1 liter of fuel? Well, there's not much that we can do regarding car costs, but there are definitely a lot of tips that we have for you regarding maximizing your fuel efficiency. So the first thing that you must do to maximize your fuel efficiency is ensure that you reach a higher gear at the earliest and try and keep the revs low. I'm repeating, higher gear, low rev. What that means is that try and reach the 5th gear by the time you're at about 50 to 60 kilometers an hour. So revs essentially mean RPM, and you should ensure that they remain below 2 at all points. That will definitely ensure that your fuel efficiency increases. So another thing you should try for is to always park your car in a shaded region, or at least try that the front half of the car remains parked in a shaded region. This will ensure that the car remains cool, which will make the air conditioning more effective on lesser amount of fuel, which will eventually obviously maximize your fuel efficiency. The next thing to keep in mind is that you should always ensure that your tires are well inflated. Why? Because low tire pressure leads to a lot of drag and friction, which increases fuel consumption. So ensure that your tire pressure is at optimum so that you get the best mileage. So after you followed all the tips to enhance your fuel efficiency, do ensure that you check the efficiency of your fuel as well. The way to do it is top up your tank with fuel and take your odometer down to 0. Now, once half your tank is emptied, just note the number of kilometers that you've traveled and top up your tank again. Just divide the number of kilometers that you've traveled with the number of liters that it took to top up the tank, and that will give you the efficiency of your car. Running your air conditioner when your car is parked also leads to heavy fuel consumption. So try and avoid that. The reason for these tips that we're giving you is so that you can maximize your fuel efficiency and definitely measure it as well. Maximize your fuel efficiency to reduce your own costs. And guys, at the end of the day, it is a natural resource, so let's preserve it. I'm Shivan Charna signing off.
With that, it's a wrap in this edition of Auto Today. Please do write in to us and tell us what we did right, what we did wrong, and where do we need to improve, and what would you want a little different from our show. Thanks very much. This is Sanket Upadhyay, turning off the ignition for now.